There, little monkey dude.
I'm being oppressed.
Yes, that's what's happening. We're being oppressed, chat. YouTube is oppressing us, and that means you've got to pay money. That's what it means. You've got to sign up for the Patreons because he tried to warn you. He tried to warn you. Did you guys get the Windows notification sound? If that played through, I apologize. How's it going, guys? So last time we were talking about Shadiversity and his ongoing, repeatingly and increasingly fast cope videos about how his channel is dying and how YouTube is specifically targeting him, and also the quartering. They're both in YouTube jail. And they've been talking about this for about a couple of years. However, it's really coming to a head now. Now, I said it was summer. That's what I said. People told me I was crazy. I'm just crazy. However, that we did notice one strange thing. There was actually a couple strange things, I would say, last time. And that was that Joshstrifehayes, which is a very a channel that I quite like, actually. He does MMO reviews. He was pointing out something very weird in his YouTube, what is it, like the restricted mode thing? You go down and you click on a restricted mode. That was a very strange thing. And then, oops, I got this playing on double audio. Hold on, just turn that down. And I said that would come back and take a look. Now, the Spiffing Brit is a guy that I've actually never seen before. I've seen his icon before, so I've seen tweets of his, I guess. But I've never actually watched any of his videos until I watched this video called YouTube, What is Happening to YouTube? And it was quite interesting. However, I do think he was being a little bit obtuse. Now, Joshstrifehayes is the other guy that was looking into this sort of thing, apart from everyone else that's complaining about their channels dying over the last month. And the Spiffing Brit, while I thought he did a very good job on what he was presenting, I feel like he was specifically avoiding the topic that Josh was talking about. Now, Josh has done 3 videos of this now. Now he mostly does like MMO videos, like was Neverwinter Nights any good? Was RuneScape any good? They're actually really fantastic videos, and he's got like his cup of coffee or tea, I guess, because he's British. Because it's going to be the most polite drama you're going to see ever. We're going to have both the most British men who totally do not want to offend anyone because they're good friends, and we don't want to be making any waves. We just want to talk about the facts if we want to know. No, actually, I think both of them both know each other, and they're very fond of each other. But they're both here deciding that basically each other is wrong. Now, Josh has made 3 videos of that. The first one he deleted because it was kind of emotional. He said he wanted to get the facts in it. He did this one called Proof that YouTube has changed how views work. And he points out something very, very interesting, which is on a certain date. And this actually did come up in Shad's video as well. I guess I've already closed it. Where is it? Yeah, it did come up in this one as well, that there's something strange was happening in the last month. And what Josh was analyzing was how TV views are overtaking desktop views. And that's very, very rare because most people watch on a second screen or on their mobile device. But there was a certain event, and he reached out to hundreds of YouTubers, and many, many people came back and showing the same thing, that on August 10th, desktop views were being eclipsed by TV views. So what happened there? Now, there's been some back and forth, and everyone's kind of coming to the conclusion that YouTube is no longer counting ad-blocked views. So that might be an interesting thing to look up. Now, as a YouTuber, we can't use ad block or we get in big trouble. In fact, YouTube's been trying to, the constant battle is going backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. But I use YouTube Premium, and I think it's honestly a very good service. So I have never seen a YouTube ad in the longest time anyway. However, I do think that YouTube does have a problem with ads. And I feel like if they changed it to kind of the Twitch's model, where if you joined up for either YouTube Premium or if you're a member of a live stream, then it removed the ads, that would be good for me. But anyway, we're going to go through and see what the Spiffing Brit says. And then we're going to go see what Joshstrifehayes has to say. In this, I think I know why views are being dropped. The Spiffing Brit is incorrect. Now, this is quite interesting because the Spiffing Brit has kind of made his entire reputation from what I can tell, because I actually went through this video and I really liked him because he reminded me of Total Biscuit. So then I went through like a bunch of his other videos, and now I have seen quite a few of them. But he's kind of made his reputation on like how to use exploits and things. Like, there's actually very interesting, like the way that he tries to exploit not only games but also the algorithm of YouTube itself. And there's actually some interesting tricks there that might be worth trying out at some point. But Trucker Rob says, "Well, howdy, mate. Well, howdy. How's it going? Hope you guys had a good weekend." I went to this flaming ramen place. It was actually, do I say it, chat? Hold on. Let me show this place before we get started. What is it? Men Baka. Because it's like crazy about men, and men means ramen. Let's see if I can find a quick video about this. Show what it's like. The Fire Ramen Shop. It's this. All right. This is where I went. This is where I went. Okay. The fiery ramen.
Want to watch fire in front of your eyes before eating? Located in Kyoto, there is a shop called Minbaka. This in
Right, it's too loud. It's too loud. But the ramen, yeah, it's very fiery. You have to lean back and everything. It was pretty cool. The ramen was pretty mid. It's not bad. It's like a 5 out of 10 for ramen. But the fire display was very cool. However, it was like 7,000 yen, which is like $60 for ramen. Ramen should be like $10. So it's the ongoing saga of me being robbed blind by this country, which has started at just a few, like I was living like basically rent-free, tax-free for years, and now everything just costs extra money. So good, congratulations for me, I suppose. All right, let's take a look at what the Spiffing Brit has to say. And this is going to be some reality checks for a lot of YouTubers. I'm going to like the video preemptively. I mean, I have seen it, but let's get into it. Let's see. Creators featured in this video are respected by Spiffing Brit, and he means them no ill when he pokes fun at their videos. Do not harass the creators and even hold any of what I discussed against them. All right, let's get into this.
If you've been on Twitter, YouTube, or Reddit these last few weeks, you've probably noticed your favorite creators decrying that the end of the world is nigh, their channel is dying, and that you should sign up for their Patreon. The reason for this sad state of affairs is obvious and clear. YouTube, yes, those evil sausages up in their ivory tower, are very obviously and purposefully suppressing your favorite content creators, and we need to fight back to stop them.
Yes, that's right. You have to fight back by subscribing to my Patreon or joining as a member or giving a super chat. That's the only way we can fight against these evil overlords. Now, actually, we want to come back. We're going to put a pin in this one and kind of come back to it, because when we get to the theory about how it is the advertised views that are no longer showing, the interesting thing about Shadiversity's video is, while he does say that it's the amount of views isn't enough to support his channel anymore, he only ever says views are down. He doesn't ever say revenue is down. And that's an interesting key point that we're going to see here. No, get a job. I have a job. And I have employees. And I also do YouTube for these streams. Okay.
Yeah, start grabbing your pitchforks. But here's the thing. You are actually wrong about the YouTube algorithm. And look, it's not your fault that you think something because a YouTuber told you it was the case. And it's also not their fault because they think it because a different YouTuber told them, and so on and so on.
And this is affecting some of the largest YouTubers. Like the examples that we looked through last time, there was Red Letter Media, abroad in Japan, a bunch of other places, like really like million subscriber YouTubers. Like this is something that everybody's well, actually, I'm not noticing it. My friends aren't noticing it, but I am noticing some particular people going down. But I have my own theories as to why. I think you can guess.
In this video, I will explain why your favorite YouTubers are wrong, why they have reached their conclusion that their channels are dying, should they still panic, and what is actually going on with the YouTube algorithm. So let's get introductions out of the way. I am the Spiffing Brit. I have been on YouTube for over a decade and seen the rise and fall of many channels and the gradual changes of the algorithm. I even helped facilitate some of those changes by breaking the systems YouTube gives us. And you are...
I saw some of these, and there was they're actually quite sneaky. Very, very, very sneaky. In one of them, like, for example, some of the exploits that he's done against YouTube was he was getting, and some of his exploits are only possible because he's made his career doing exploits and he's has a certain amount of popularity. It's not like something everyone else could use. But for example, he would just get everyone on his stream to press count down from 10 and press F5. So everybody just refresh the stream. And that would make it so that the first 30 seconds had like 100% watch retention. There was some really interesting stuff. He also like changed his memberships so that they were less than £1 or about $1 US, and then he would gift himself memberships, because we get, provided you're using an Android or just desktop device, 70% of memberships. So he could buy himself a membership for 30p or 30 cents, and then he could make himself the most member subscribed stream on the entire channel. Apparently, like when he did this, and like I said, I never knew this happened until like yesterday, basically. When he did this, like the entire front page of YouTube was just his video. So he has been very successful at gaming the system. I don't know how he gets away with it though, because like if you use an exploit like that on YouTube, usually you get banned. But then if you say that you're doing it to test an exploit, it's just as a joke, ironically, that you still get away with it. I don't know. He does have friends at YouTube, though. That is true. And that's the key thing here, is that you have to have friends in life to accomplish anything.
Of course, a viewer.
Which is why I'm here right now.
On average, you are probably in your early 30s and enjoy drinking tea. Oh, and you are almost certainly a dude. Yeah, my community's a real...
Actually, speaking of tea, this is a very good segue. Because there is another additional thing that I think that Joshstrifehayes or maybe someone else should look at. And that is something that was actually, I think, noticed by nobody else, and except for one guy, the T-Man, the Dragon's Treasure. So I got to put my Dragon's Treasure coupon code up. If you want to go support the channel, you can go buy some tea. Use code COPE. It gets you 10% off and helps support the T-Man. Now, the T-Man, he decided to, because everyone at first thought it was this restricted mode thing. So what happens if you put your channel into restricted mode? And this is a feature that only about 1% of users use, actually. It's for libraries and schools and things like that. It shows a secondary level of videos that have been flagged as not suitable for all audiences. And when I use it on my own channel, 98% of my content was gone on this channel. Now, when I use it on my other channel, it was perfectly fine. But the T-Man did something interesting. He went to CNN and NBC and everything, those news channels, and he tested out restricted mode on news channels. And the news channels were able to post anything that they wanted, like including like the Charlie Kirk assassination, all the political hit jobs, political drama in the Middle East, everything. They can get away with anything. So that does actually show that there is two levels of what is approved YouTube good boys and those who aren't. So no matter what the content is, even if it's not acceptable for children and say people going to libraries or schools, CNN can just post whatever they want and still get away with it, which is something that YouTubers have thought for a long time, is that back when they were doing the trials, things like Law and Crime was getting this kind of like special tiered like journalism bonus tier thing that was very strange. And the T-Man was the only person that actually went and had a look at this. So there is some things, like, I'm not going to tell you that YouTube is a good boy and that they're not planning things behind your back, but the level of YouTube malicious shadow banning to what is actual reality is not quite the same. People basically think they're shadow banned for any reason, except the real reason, which is that people just don't want to watch their content.
Sausage fest. But with that out of the way, let's dive straight into this video.
So thank you, T-Man.
So in the last few weeks, creators have been making a lot of fuss about their channels dying. I would say this trend hit mainstream with this.
We got Linus Tech Tips, LMG Clips. That's a good name for a channel, actually. Our views are down. Terrible name for a video, though. It's just boring.
This Linus Tech Tips video titled Our Views Are Down. In this video, Linus and his handsome co-star discuss that their most recent uploads have performed well below their expectations and averages, in some cases getting 50% less views than normal. This is of course pretty bad for business, and would set off alarm bells for anyone. If it was just 1 or 2 videos being off, then it's easy to move past. But in a world that feels more stressful, with more pressure than ever to financially provide for others, then yes, Linus actually has to take more time to worry about if his channel is actually dying. It's honestly a good and interesting video that shows how experienced a creator Linus is. He acknowledges this isn't the first dip he's seen in his channel, and he knows that it probably won't be his last. Most of his concerns come from a perspective of an employer. He talks about how less views on the channel will affect his potential earnings, and how he might need to adapt for changes in the algorithm.
Now, this is something that Quartering is also very upset at, because he has 15 employees for his coffee dropshipping business. That's a Freudian slip. Drop shipping business. That is most likely just his woke coffee roaster, but nobody can know for sure. He refuses to do a tour of his coffee company, which would be a very, very good promotional video. But yes, he's very concerned about his 15 employees. Basically, he's just hired 15 Melanie Macs, and he's just trying to surround himself with as many thin women as possible, which is very ironic. I think he's just living at that Jabba the Hutt-like lifestyle or something. Like, he wants to be just sitting there going, oh, 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 while he's got like the little skinny 40-year-old women going, anyway, sorry. That's not, it's tangentially related to this, I suppose.
But this video makes the mistake of not being hyperbolic enough. Quite frankly, it's too boring to the average viewer. After all, it's titled Our Views Are Down, not YouTube is crushing our viewership. Oh my, how did that video get here?
Look, it's the Yahtzee, old Yahtzee boy. The sad thing about YouTube is this is true, is that you have to make everything incredibly hyperbolic or nobody cares. There's really no place for nuance on this platform.
This is a video from Second Wind, a channel set up by some truly incredible creatives and industry veterans. Zero Punctuation, and now fully Ramblematic, has been a series that has run for generations. And
wait, wasn't this the one where they remade it? And then they included, what's his face? Sterling? Wasn't Jim Sterling a part of this? But then it was like super cringe, and he was like threatening to do paternity lawsuits about who's going to be the father or something crazy about that. I even checked in with Jim Sterling, the Jimquisition. The Jimquisition. That's what we're talking about, Kitty. What do you mean? You don't know Jimquisition? He invented the Sterling sandwich. He made his own sandwich. It was literally a white piece of bread, a slice of onion, a slice of bread, and that was it. It's a Sterling sandwich. I'm not even joking. He then also decided to become Miss Starchild or something, and now wrestles as a female in the UK. It's very, very strange. Very, very strange. And they're... Man, that's a whole kettle of fish we can't get in today.
I personally adore the eloquence used in these videos to describe whatever AAA gaming slop has just been released. However, this video is quite frankly terrible. Let me of course preface this by saying that I'm a creator, and the people behind this video are also creators who I respect. I like their work. I'm not criticizing them as people, just that this video here is bad. And we'll get to why later, but
this is unlike me because I am criticizing the quartering as a person.
first, what are their actual complaints? In the video, Yahtzee explains that their most recent videos are not performing well in comparison to previous ones. The reason is not the videos themselves, it's actually something entirely different. They believe that it is because YouTube is not actually serving the videos, and it's all thanks to this thing here, YouTube restricted mode.
Now this restricted mode thing, this is what we talked about last time, but only briefly. It was like a period of about 5 minutes people thought that this would be responsible for it. Now, this is not a new feature, it's been around for a long time. However, Joshstrifehayes comes to the conclusion that it's one of the contributing factors. Like, it's no one thing that is causing some people to see that their views are down. It's the combination of this restricted mode with more AI controls and things that will come together. Also hitting with the summer dip, which is a real thing that YouTubers don't seem to realize, that like your views will go down in certain times of the year, as well as income will go down in certain parts of the year as well. Like, your views will be higher in, say, Christmas, but then just directly after Christmas, even though your views will remain consistent, you'll lose about 50% of your income because the advertisers just spend their entire wad getting people to buy shit for Christmas.
According to this video, if you turn it on, content that could potentially be mature is not shown.
Restrict Hobbit cucking? That's a sneaky little edit. I didn't notice the first time I watched this. This must be the Rings of Power edition of the Tolkien universe.
And so most creators will have several of their videos not visible to people using YouTube in restricted mode. This obviously justifies the 10 to 30% drop in viewership that Second Wind are currently experiencing with their latest releases. But that's pretty much the gist of the video. Good indie creators should do and call it a day.
They're making 40... Wait, okay, never mind. Wait, no, wait, sorry. No, wait, this is real, right? Second Wind, they're making $40,000 a month? I thought, like, my dyslexia hit me for a second. I thought it was $420.69, but it's $40,620 a month with 17,000 members. I mean, I guess it's like 4 people, so it's $10,000 each. Holy crap. Holy shit. I mean, Yahtzee's a funny guy. I used to watch, what is it? The Zero Punctuation all the time. He's one of those Brits who moves to Australia, but then suffers under the hot Australian sun.
But it turns out they weren't the only people noticing a view drop. Red Letter Media also make their obligatory YouTube is video. It's very similar to Second Wind. In fact, they made this video to support their friend Jack, who works on that channel, and to raise awareness to the very same issue. Similarly, they reference that restricted mode is very bad, and they also point to a video they uploaded at the start of August that didn't do. Again, this is more evidence that the YouTube algorithm is suppressing some of your favorite creators, all because of this restricted mode. Restricted mode was also one of the main talking points of a video from fellow British creator Joshstrifehayes, who will have probably watched if you know what an MMO is.
Yeah, so we're seeing him a bit later on today. Now, I think Spiffing Spiffing Brit says he'll come back to this video, but he never actually does. And I think some of the commenters called him out about that. It may be that he had a different point in the original script of this video, and he cut it out to get it out in time, because it doesn't seem like he addresses any of the concerns of the people that were talking about, particularly the August 10th dip, which was associated with desktop views being eclipsed by the smart TV views. And like, how many of you actually use smart TVs? This is the question. I got to pull a poll up in chat. Like, where do you watch from? Because second screen. That's how you spell second. Second screen, mobile. What was it? I don't know. Crystal ball. And there we go. Crystal ball is a tablet, because it's just like an artifact from the past that doesn't exist anymore. Smart TV mostly, that surprises me. Because the thing is, if people are watching from smart devices, like smart TVs in particular, and like when Camelot 331 was talking about his channel was dying, and like he has actually seen a drop of 90%. But I mean, some of the people that he's friends with have seen a drop of 99%, so that's not too crazy in their sphere. But no, he was I was wondering because if indeed, when we are talking about the engaged view versus the new view, which is totally wrong, the Gothic therapy people came up and tried to explain that everyone's got their own theories for this. Like, it's the engaged views, but like, engaged view is basically, if you're watching a content, you have to either press like, comment in the chat, or subscribe or something. So if you do that, like just say hi or one in the chat, that'd be very appreciated. I would love that very much. That makes you an engaged viewer. But like, if you're watching on a smart TV, it's basically impossible to begin an engaged viewer, right? Because I don't know, like if I'm watching on YouTube on a TV, I'm not going to use the remote to type LOL. That's like crazy talk, you know?
Would show you.
But where was I going with this? Yeah. But the Spiffing Brit doesn't come and talk about any of those points about the engaged views, or slash the desktop versus smart device or smart TV. I shouldn't say device, because if I say smart device, you might think smartphone, but smart device, it specifically means 4K TV or YouTube TV, or like they've got like these special ones, don't they? Have that like actually skips all the advertising entirely, doesn't it? Not sure.
Some of the video, but he deleted it for reasons we'll get to later to vaguely summarize his perspective.
All right, so he does say that he's going to get to later, but like this is the thing, is that Joshstrifehayes did delete the video, saying that it was emotional and too quickly edited. Then he comes back and gets the data.
He believed that YouTube was either potentially bugged, turning restricted mode on for some people, or maybe there was a nefarious ploy to make the algorithm more advertiser-friendly. But you should start to get the picture. What began as a retrospective from Linus about his channel declining has now grown into this huge site-wide cascade of creators getting less views at the start of September because of this new silly feature called YouTube restricted mode. We're so certain of this fact because there are of course tweets getting thousands and thousands of likes, and they're being circulated around like hotcakes. Creators on all platforms and private forums are talking about this, and this in turn creates algorithmic demand, so you have creators making response and update videos and speculating about their own analytics, repeating this cycle and cementing that this new algorithm update in September is the end of YouTube as we know it. And
there's a couple of things here. Oh no, the evil red glove YouTube is really coming through. Is that sometimes certain YouTubers will be very nasty. Well, not nasty, but sinister is the word I want to use. And they'll use these sort of events to make a claim that something is happening that it is not, and then they'll use that to just grift. Like, unironically, like, that's why I was joking, saying that if you use it down that way, that's why you have to give me money. Some YouTubers actually, unironically, will take that as a proper business thing. Like the quartering, for example, is one of those. But you got to buy my $99 coffee because I don't know what I'm doing. I find that quite disgusting, honestly, for a lot of people. But the thing is, emotion drives sales. It's so maybe I'm the one that's stupid here. In fact, probably that is the case.
That it's probably caused by an AI restricted mode thingy. My goodness, lady.
The AI restricted mode thingy, though, is an interesting point of concern, because that means that YouTube does have a list of channels that are not suitable for all viewers. And like YouTube already has this. You might think, well, there's like the kids content. So YouTube has 2 tiers of, well, I guess like essentially 3 tiers of content. It has the YouTube kids only. This is content that's like, I don't know, Coco Melon. Is it Coco Melon or Coco Melon? Whatever. You know, or like Blippi, or what is that, Jake's Toys or something, you know, like those are like children's channels. They're meant for children, and I was going to say they're made by children for children, and all the profit goes to children. I mean, we're all somebody's children, but no, they're made by adults to exploit children and sell them toys. And there's some of the most soulless content in the entire platform. But that's like the first tier of content is the child's content, and that content has certain restrictions on it because there was too many predators in that space. For example, you can't comment on those videos because children were commenting on those videos, and that's how predators were finding them, by going through these comments. So now you can no longer comment on any content that's deemed for kids made. And the interesting thing is that YouTube will actually restrict certain channels against their own will, and for the wrong reasons. This does happen. It actually happened to me because I was really confused for the longest time. I was furious because a while ago I was doing a lot of sort of movie reviews and things like that, and I did one on Stranger Things, and I was saying that it was just after the Rings of Power, and I was talking about Rings of Power is so shit, and I wanted to do something nice, and I watched Stranger Things season 4. Was it season 4? And it was really good. I thought like season 3 was like it was pretty bit of a mess. And then season 4 was really good. And I was like, okay, this is like a return to form. Very impressed. Happy to see it. But because I used so much content from the Stranger Things shows, the YouTube AI algorithm saw the child actors, which I think were like all teenagers, but it saw those images and it thought I was making a video about children. So because of that, they actually forcefully restricted the comments on that video. I don't know if it is still the case. But at the time, I could not enable comments. And for me, I'm the kind of person that never blocks people and never turns off comments. So I was really like furious about this. And I had no idea what was happening. And YouTube would not tell me the video was monetized. It wasn't getting very much engagement, and comments were blocked. And I was like, what the hell? What the hell? So YouTube does use these AI tools to determine certain levels of content, but that's the children content. That's the first level of content. The second level of content is like the main breadth of YouTube's content. That's like the content for everybody, and that'll be your everyday YouTube video. It might even be this video, depending on how much bad language I use. But then you have also the restricted 18 plus content, and it's not necessarily adult themed. Well, it's like adult themes, like drugs, sex, things like that. That's the one that you actually have to be an 18-year-old proven to be logged into YouTube to see. So those are the 3 regular tiers of YouTube content. But now we know, because of the restricted mode, even if it is not the culprit in this case, because of the restricted mode, we know that there is a second class or a secret tier of videos that YouTube has deemed that is not okay for the general audiences. And they'll only be, and while they'll say that it's only, the restricted mode is only used for this 1% of users that use it, like libraries and schools and things. We don't know if that's the truth, because YouTube is very often not forthcoming with people. So it's very, very suspicious. So that is the concern. Like, and we wouldn't have known about it if not for this event. And like I said, with the thing that the Dragon's Treasure found out is that if you're the right channel, you do actually get to post that content. CNN can post as much death, destruction, assassinations as they want, and it's okay for children to see them post it, but it's not okay for your regular person to post about it. So I don't know. That leaves a bad taste in my mouth. But what doesn't is Trucker Rob gifting 5 memberships. Big support for the stream from Trucker Rob. How's it going? How's it going, Rob? Hope you're doing well.
Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves. I think we found the root cause of the problem with the YouTube algorithm. So yes, some of you might have seen this coming. It's not actually restricted mode. The thing I've seen most creators blame is not even remotely the cause for downturn in viewers.
I don't actually think that many people were blaming it. I think there was like an hour or something where a bunch of people were going crazy about this, and then it was like revealed very quickly to not be the case.
I don't even think most people know what restricted mode is. It's a feature that wasn't added in September. It's a feature that wasn't even added in August. It's been a part of YouTube since probably before you started using the platform.
And the problem that I have with Spiffing Brit's video here is that this is YouTube's words. As YouTube is telling us, and no, don't get me wrong, this was a feature in 2010, but YouTube is telling us that no, we only use the restricted AI for this thing that nobody uses. We don't know if that's true or not. Now, do I think that the Quarterings videos, or do I think that Shadiversity's videos are being restricted by this evil AI? No, I have my own theories for that. But this is very much taking the party line. Like, it's appealing to our benevolent YouTube overlords. And I think it's fair to have a certain amount of criticism for this company, because they've been shown in the past to suppress people and being a little bit cheeky with some of the things they've done. So I don't see why I should give them the benefit of the doubt when they're saying that they're not using this AI for other reasons. Now, like I said, that doesn't mean that I think that people's YouTube channels are being shadow banned because they're making sword content. Absolutely not. But this does happen. And it did happen very, very strongly in, you know when, 2020 to 2022.
It's a feature that exists to restrict potentially mature content from being shown. Its sole purpose is so that places like schools and libraries can have access to YouTube without the fear that a child is watching a GTA 5 Let's Play, because the game is technically for adults. It's not perfect, there's definitely a lot of videos that slip through the cracks, but it's a good enough change to make a very big platform slightly safer for kids. In 2017, restricted mode accounted for a mere 1.5% of views on the platform, and I honestly expect this number to be even lower now, as it's really not a popular feature. Restricted mode is not the cause for less views, because it has not in any way changed. The people still using restricted mode will make up only a tiny fraction of anyone's active viewer base. There is no possible way that 30% of viewers for Second Wind are now in restricted mode, when probably less than 1% of their entire viewer base might have ever used it at any point. No, it's not restricted mode, and no, YouTube is not secretly switching accounts into restricted mode to kill your favorite creators. The YouTube algorithm exists with one purpose: to keep you watching. If they think the best video for you to watch is adult themed, then that's what it will recommend, because it wants you to watch so that you can get served adverts. A business as large as YouTube will not shoot itself in the foot by cutting off Linus tech tips from the magic money tree because they believe 1/5 of his videos might be too mature for a child. The algorithm will
Now, this is generally a good point of view, and I generally agree with this. However, a few years ago, there was a group of people in these sort of companies that were doing just this. That's the problem. Is like, yeah, it makes sense, right? If you just say, well, they want to make as much money as possible, so they're just going to promote as much content as possible, and they want you to be watching as long as possible. However, they did just decide to delete a bunch of people that were having the wrong opinion about certain things. And now it's gotten better. It used to be much worse. Now it's actually fairly reasonable, in my opinion. But like, while I agree with this in spirit, it's just not true in reality.
only ever kill a channel. So
But the channel, but I have to like, because why would YouTube get rid of people like Alex Jones, Stefan Molyneux, the Kill Stream, the Ralph Report? Oh wait, that's the same thing. Sorry. Like, the YouTube does remove channels that bring in lots of money for them. The Kill Stream was deleted from YouTube, I believe, on the same day as their charity stream for St. Jude's, because they were saying naughty words, and they were saying they weren't being nice to the rainbow people. St. Jude's, the children's hospital, did not get, I believe, $10,000-$20,000 that was going to cancer research. YouTube absolutely deletes people that they don't like all the time, even if the audience wants to watch it. Now, those channels were a lot more spicier than who makes the greatest longsword. That's the issue, is that I have with Shad, is that he's kind of putting himself into this group of people pretending that he's being oppressed when he's not really making that spicy of content at all. He'll say it's because that they're testing these features on him first, or they're rolling it out in series of in demographics and things like that. But the reality is that, you know, if he's a Christian man, Mormon man, whatever, that's not part of his sword content, and he's not being penalized for that reason. But then you have these very real examples, and people say, well, of course, they must be oppressing me. I must be being shadow banned because this is what happened to this person,
to speak, if it genuinely can't find anyone interested in watching that video. And given how big the internet is and how much YouTube is continuously growing year on year, I think that would be quite an achievement. But I won't argue that views aren't down for these creators. All of these creators are concerned about a genuine thing that is affecting their channel. So no, I won't lie and say that your channel is actually performing at the exact same level as it was 2 months ago, but you're probably lying to yourself and your audience if you're blaming restricted mode. I mean, even in the videos creators made exposing restricted mode, they would still have videos that performed incredibly well that were actually hidden in restricted mode. Surely if it's hidden, the algorithm would mean it performs well below your average. But of course,
this is a good counterpoint, actually. I'll point that out for the Spiffing Brit.
Was thanks to everyone blaming restricted mode, these clear, obvious points were missed, as it's so easy to blame YouTube, which makes sense because we see YouTube regularly age restrict, demonetize, and copyright takedown channels. This means that creators live in fear that they might be next, and so when they think their works are being suppressed, oh, they'll be angry. Of course, we can't hold it against the creators, and you definitely shouldn't go and be mean to them. After all, when they made their complaints and YouTube responded, they didn't listen. This is because they don't trust YouTube and any public source that comes from them because, well, they're an inconsistent mega corporation. They tell you...
Very true. And YouTube has actually come out and said that, most likely based off of the work that Joshstrifehayes was doing, that indeed there may have been a reporting issue specifically in the first 2 weeks of August.
You're getting a human review, and let's be real, it probably isn't. YouTubers mostly trust each other, and so explanations that the algorithm is actually suppressing them and then
This is a big mistake. You shouldn't trust any other YouTuber. They're all backstabbing rats that'll abandon you the second they get the chance. They're all rats. Except for me. I never backstab my friends. Although some people think that I have backstabbed my friends. That's not true. People that I backstab were not my friends in the first place. Although that's what I would say, wouldn't it?
pools of data that go alongside it feed into cycles that can scale to hyperbolic levels like this. Most creators don't even claim to be experts about the algorithm. I think Mike and Jay in the Red Letter Media videos say they don't know anything about YouTube probably about 5 times. After all, they're creators whose passion is for making videos, not sitting down and analyzing years worth of spreadsheets. We can fault them for being wrong about what they said, but we can't fault these people for being concerned. Fans and creators are raising their voices to defend their favorite content providers. They just don't exactly know what they're fighting against, only that they're fighting for what's good, their favorite creators. So if someone says it's restricted mode, then it's probably restricted mode, and until someone with a big enough stick in the game says otherwise, that's going to be the prevailing narrative. And hello, here I am, the self-proclaimed king of the algorithm, waving my big stick and telling you to put down the pitchfork.
And while this is a very funny edit, this is a little bit self-aggrandizing, because like I said, Joshstrifehayes himself deleted this video and said, like, okay, there's actually more to this than meets the eyes. But then Spiffing Brit didn't come back and respond to any of this. In fact, I think he went out of his way to ignore it, probably because he just realized that he doesn't actually have the information about this, and maybe he jumped the gun as well. This is a bit of a problem, is I think that sometimes when he's like the expert of exploiting, right? So if there's an exploit and he doesn't know about it, then clearly it must not be an exploit. That's what I think what's kind of maybe have occurred here. Now, I don't want to. Maybe he's just busy. Maybe he's just too busy. He doesn't have eyes everywhere or something. But we'll have to see when we get to Josh's video after this one.
So now what? Who on earth do we blame? So if not restricted mode, there are a few other things I've seen creators blame for this decline. Let's start with shadowbanning. This is the...
Doesn't happen. I'm sorry. Like, unless you're literally Alex Jones, or you're trying to shill some sort of crazy medicine or cryptocurrency that is quite clearly a scam, you're not getting shadow banned. Shadow banning is just a very easy explanation. It's like and there's no way to prove you're not being shadow banned, right? There's literally no way you can't. It's like, well, how? Prove you're shadow banned. Well, you can't prove I'm not shadow banned. Well, I guess it's just nobody wants to watch the content, or it's not optimized very well. That's the reality on these things, unless it's one of these extreme political examples. But fortunately, since at least I want to say 2024, but it may be a year, but maybe around 2023 is when the pendulum began to swing back. Is that companies decided that they were going to be a little bit less zealous when it came to policing opinions.
Vague idea that a channel is being signaled out and suppressed by YouTube. This usually comes with the notion that the creator is covering non-mainstream ideas that the men in power don't want you to know about. Sometimes it connects to this idea that these videos don't get as many ads, and so YouTube doesn't want to show them. But YouTube...
Wouldn't that be better though for people who hate ads?
Whose main goal is watch time, and the amount of ads placed in a video makes absolutely no difference on how much YouTube will push a video. It is with absolute certainty I can say that shadow banning doesn't exist. Quite frankly, none of us are special enough for a platform this big. YouTube cares...
This is, like I said, this is generally correct. Nobody gives a shit about the Freyren stuff versus Legolas's bow sword comparison videos. They're not going out their way. The only person that unironically gets shadow banned is Darkside Phil. Darkside Phil actually has fans that are such psychopaths that they will go and start working for like telecom companies and internet companies and power companies specifically so they can shut off his internet, which is it's absolutely insane. Like the Phil-spiracy theories out there. But Shadow, that's the one guy. That's the one guy that's special enough to be shadow banned for not having a spicy opinion is literally just Darkside Phil. Based base DSPA logs. I can't believe it. When I heard that, that was like so crazy. Some guy literally started working for the phone company so he could switch off Phil's modem when he started streaming. What a, I don't know. That's such rat behavior. I can almost respect it.
Not if you talk about the worst of humanity, or you have the most vanilla ice cream take possible. All they care about is watch time. But as a species, we generally follow the opinions of the herd, and so our viewing behaviors mirror that, leading to groups of viewers of niche topics becoming more enclaved away from the rest, just consuming content that is specialized for their niche, but wouldn't be attractive to someone looking from the outside in. Anyway, if not shadow banning, then what about hype? This is a hot new YouTube feature that we've been given, whereby small channels...
I haven't heard about this. So this is like, you can, this is such a silly idea. This is such a stupid idea. I mean, I would love if people would hype my channel. That'd be great. But like, if you're not aware of what this is, the way I think I understand this is that if your channel's under 500,000 subscribers, viewers can pay to promote your videos. But I'm just thinking like, so you're going to pay YouTube so my videos get seen to other people. And then people would say like, well, if you're not being hyped, you're not going to have the same competitive rank. So it's kind of like you're being suppressed with extra steps. But like, this is just such a dumb like corporate idea, because they're like, YouTube's like, well, you should just pay us more. It's like, well, why don't we just give the money to the creator? Like, if you want to hype a YouTuber, just subscribe to their Patreon or something. Just give them the money directly. And I guess the idea is that on the back end they get more views. But this is just view botting. This is just literally corporate view botting. It's crazy. This sounds dumb. It is really dumb. I don't think this feature will be around for very long. So if you want to use it, better get your time in now. But I mean, look, if you want to hype my channel, just send me the money. That'd be way more hype. Oh no, my video got extra 20,000 views. I'd much rather have just $200. That's probably what you're going to be paying for this sort of thing.
Channels beneath 500k subscribers can receive boosts from their viewers. Basically, you can pay so that a video gets more impressions and more recommendations.
This is so bad though, because there's a bunch of reasons, like, because you can actually pay to promote your videos already as a YouTuber using AdSense, and you can actually run ads on your own videos or run your videos as ads. And actually something weird happened with one of my channels, because I started to get 20,000 extra views an hour from India. And I was like, what the hell? My content going viral in India, but there was no corresponding increase in the revenue. So I was like, what? Then I had a look at the analytics, and it was showing me that somebody in India, and I don't know who, was using one of my videos to run an ad. So it's like, what it means is basically what would happen is you would load up someone else's video, but then my video would play, and then it would just be my video, but then there'd be like the tagline would be an ad for something, which is crazy. And I didn't agree to this. I did not consent to this. So I disabled this feature. And the Indians only got two days worth of running ads on my content. But I'm really confused why they did it. Like, for what reason? For what gain? Because like, I was like, maybe I should have just let people keep doing it. Then I was like, wait a minute. If someone's running, my thought was, if someone's running ads on my videos in India, that's going to skew my audience to be all Indians. And sorry, but Indians are just not a very profitable region for monetization. America, Saudi Arabia, England, Australia, they all have the top tier of monetization, like CPM, like the money you get per 1,000 views. So I was like very concerned about that. They could literally do this, because you can actually tank someone's channel like this. I think the Spiffing Brit actually made a video about this entirely. It's like, you can run ads on somebody's video and then send them to the wrong demographic, and then they'll get tanked because everyone that sees it won't watch it. The average watch duration will go down. I mean, you have to spend thousands of dollars to do it, but you could, in theory, do this to anyone, and they can't stop you. Well, they can now, actually. Maybe this is why that feature was invented. It's a very weird thing, but I'll never know what Indian company was doing that to me, or Indian individual was doing that to me. And I tried to find out as well, but I couldn't. It's very annoying. That's the really crazy thing about this feature. This is before. This is not the hype feature, by the way. This is the previous promotional feature. You just don't know who does it to you. It's confidential. Dave with £2 says, YouTube is turning into LinkedIn. Brilliant. Oh my goodness, those LinkedIn people, I hate them so much. We need a special slur just for people that use LinkedIn. The LinkedIn influencers.
These impressions then might turn into views and grow the channel that's being boosted. So the idea is that if you're a channel and your audience aren't boosting you, you're being suppressed by the algorithm because YouTube wants you to make more money for them. There's just one slight problem. This feature's already been on YouTube for months now in different regions, and well, it's just not used that much. It hasn't really had much of an impact at all. It's also brand new in the West, and so it's seen limited use. So no, it's not causing a huge drop in viewership. It, however, is a brand.
Yeah, because this is such a silly feature. Just send a super chat to people.
And new YouTube feature, and that means it probably has some weird exploits in it. So if you want to see if I can break it, then hey, subscribe and find out in a few.
What? Meme Grag. What is monthly cost in Japan? Did you have a Finnish stroke or something? What is this? What do you mean by this? Do you mean the average cost of living? Is that what you mean?
Future video, but for now the timelines just don't match up. Hype is not the cause of this viewership decline. Another thing I've seen blamed is that YouTube has changed the way views are tracked. The idea being that creators are getting the same amount of real views, but perhaps the botted or duplicated views of previous videos have been removed. This was actually a very strong talking point of the Linus Tech Tips videos, and they're not without good reason. These changes do happen with YouTube, and in fact we've recently had one with shorts changing to fit the TikTok approach to counting a view as seeing a single mere frame of a video, but it only affects shorts and not normal videos.
Yeah, this is one of the important things that came up in Joshstrifehayes' video as well, is that they have to exclude shorts from the data, otherwise it skews it. So what happens if you're unaware for the shorts thing is this is the entire thing that Gothic Sushi or Gothic Therapy video is about, is that if you scroll on YouTube, the scroll, like you swipe, every time you swipe, that's one view for the person, but that's not an engaged view. So that's just you were seen once, even if it was just like a finger saw you swiping over it, versus someone that actually watched your content, the engaged view. And I've been watching it a little bit because I don't do much of shorts, but for the ones that I have seen, it's actually fairly not similar by about like maybe 80% in my range anyway. Some people have seen it like 50% though. I guess it depends how much you upload.
It's a change to display, not to the actual algorithm. I also know that no change has been made to the YouTube view counting and verification in the period that these creators are discussing. This confirmation comes from multiple sources that work at YouTube who know far more about this than anyone else on the planet. Okay, so all of those...
But trust me, bro. This is a problem that the big problem that I have to do is like, well, I asked YouTube and they said that they didn't change anything. And it's like, well, I know that Spiffing Brit has friends at YouTube, but why should I trust these friends of yours? And why would they tell you honestly? And there are actually cases where people that are working at YouTube don't even know what's happening. If you have a YouTube channel rep, a lot of the times they have no idea what's going on in the back end of YouTube. And it's almost like they have these cells, all the departments like their own like terrorist cells, and they don't know what each other is doing independently.
Classic blames are out of the way, and yet we're no closer to discovering why the algorithm is seemingly suppressing creators and leading to them having less views. So, what do we have to blame instead? Yes, welcome to the great rug pull of this episode, where I reveal that you, the viewer, were the villain all along. It might seem hard to take in if...
It's true. It's the audience's fault. It's always the chat's fault. Chat was always wrong. It reminds me of that Family Guy episode where Peter's like, it's your fault that America is so bad. And it's just like at the Martin Luther King Day or something. Hard to swallow pills. The audience is your problem. This is what I've been saying, though, is that if you replace the word algorithm with audience, all of your answers make sense. It's like the YouTube algorithm isn't watching my videos. No, it's the YouTube audience isn't watching your videos. This is the problem. This is what's happening. But like I said, there has been something in August, but that's not quite the same. And we'll talk about it a bit more when we get to the follow-up video to this.
You're a creator or just an audience member, but ultimately the reason videos get views is because people watch them. Videos don't get views if people don't watch them. It really is as simple as that. The weird nebulous YouTube algorithm doesn't decide who gets a view, you do. The reason views are 10% lower on one fully ramblomatic video than another are the exact same as the reasons why views might be 50% higher on a different one. A different amount of human beings, for whatever reason, chose to watch or not watch that video. So instead of asking why YouTube is giving a video less views, instead take a look at what actually provides the views. You know, your own audience, and
I almost entirely agree with this point he's making, though, but then his entire channel is built about exploiting different things, like games and audiences, and he's literally had an effect on the YouTube algorithm itself because he has been exploiting it. So it's not as simple as just people like it. That is the basis of it, though. There is something that goes into this, but it's kind of interesting. It's like, well, I'm the exploiter man who was able to exploit all these things, but it's just the audience that cares. Yes and no, I guess.
There are hundreds of reasons why someone who watched a previous video might not watch the next one that gets recommended to them from the same creator. In the case of Fully Ramblematic, I will always go out of my way to watch one of their videos covering a game that I'm interested in, like Sid Meier's Pirates. It's a game I have a lot of happy nostalgia for, but a game like Ninja Gaiden just doesn't interest me at all. Sure, I might have watched the video if I had time, but I've been busy over the summer, so that means I had less time to watch videos, so I had to narrow down the creators I was watching to just the ones who I know will be able to deliver a video that I'm looking for. Audiences are fickle and not loyal. We like to think that we care strongly.
Disloyal audiences. Very true. Very true. People just, yeah, I mean, people just want to watch what they're interested in. This is why it's like the you in YouTube isn't the creator, it's the audience. And this is one of the hardest swills for the hardest pills for YouTubers to swallow, is that it's not the videos that you want to make, it's the videos that people want to watch. And I mean, I had a hard time realizing this as well.
About everything online.
Now, sometimes both can align. And sometimes you can have such an interesting way of presenting the things that you're interested in, you can create an entire new niche as well. But most people just don't give a shit about the things that I care about, and that's fine.
But in reality, we cling on to and discard topics and creators at a blistering pace. A channel doesn't exist in a vacuum, neither does a video. This entire platform is a living, breathing ecosystem with so many different moving parts. By all means, a creator can make a better video, but whether it gets more or less views is much more determined by external modifiers. But this particular time frame of early August and the start of September the creators are complaining about is quite interesting. It's a very intense period of time, especially when you realize that most new creators get their first break over the holiday. This is often because they're actually having time off from work or school, allowing them to basically go semi-full time and create better videos, leading to even more competition in the communities that they provide for. In 2010, there were hundreds of creators making content like this. And now in 2025, you can have thousands of creators making incredible, groundbreaking videos that are better than ever, uploaded every single day of the week. The bar for competition...
I'm going to slightly disagree with this, because while this is true that the barrier for entry is higher these days, people are still making those exact same Minecraft videos and doing very, very well doing that. In fact, there's almost like a counterculture now, where you see people going back to these old styles of videos which have less editing and less Mr. Beastification of things. There's a certain point people really have fatigue of like hype editing, you know, where it's like every 2 seconds something's happening and there's like a swish sound and there's emotion on screen. Some people have really exploded. I think like I'm not sure if it's Queso, but there's like people like the streamer Queso, like there's just big normie guy that streams. It's like that. There's like a guy that does like vlogs where it's like an hour long and he's just like trying to get fit or something. Do you guys know which one I'm talking about? Not Queso, he's the fat Twitch guy. But this guy on yeah, the Return to Tradition.
Has certainly been raised. So yes, the audience is definitely the thing we should be looking at. And what better way to demonstrate a rapid movement of an audience than with a good bit of drama? A few weeks ago, the entire gaming landscape was covered in Pirate Software drama videos. Even if you've never heard of him or seen any of his content before, you definitely got to know about the drama by the end of it. Everyone had to have an opinion, of course, and everyone had to be involved and draw battle lines.
I mean, it wasn't really that many battle lines. Basically, everybody said that Pirate Software was a knob. The interesting thing was Pirate Software a necessary evil? If you think so, put one in the chat. Basically, the only reason the Stop Killing Games went through is because he was such a such a absolute twat. That's what I wanted to say. Such an absolute twat. If he wasn't such a twat, nobody would have signed that to Stop Killing Games. It was a good cause. It was a good cause, but you had to have that amazingly annoying, frustrating, self-righteous, refuses to apologize, smarmy, smug, deep-voiced little nepo baby. There's no other way to describe it. Like Pirate Software, I don't know, like that was the villain role, was the one that he was born to play. It was really quite phenomenal to see. It
was a real fight that felt quite thrilling to be a part of, I'm sure.
This is a very good question, Alex Channel. Did ad revenue go down, or is it just the views? You'll notice that many of the, and I was going to kind of use this as a bit of a cap at the end of it, so maybe I'm giving this away for free. But when I see these creators that are talking about their views going down, they're not talking about, they never say revenues down. They always say views are down. They'll say that you can't make this a lifestyle with this many views and that yada, yada, yada. So kind of they go in hand. But this is a strange thing, is that most of the creators that have seen reductions in views have not seen a reduction in ad rates and payouts as well, which really lends credence to the idea that it was just the non-monetized ad blocked views that were being blocked. We'll do a poll towards the end when we get to that part of that segment of the show to ask how many of you actually use ad block. It seems like desktop viewers are much more likely to use it as well. But if that is the case, then it makes no difference. That's the crazy thing about this all. Like, you could literally have 30% less views and it would make no fucking difference. It's just a vanity metric if the money's the same. Now, it's not entirely true, I guess, because then there's things like sponsorships. Like, if you get 1 million views per video, you're much more marketable to say Raid Shadow Legends or something, and then someone that's getting 700,000 views a stream. Now, they'll probably sponsor you either way, but there certainly are certain metrics that you need to hit if you want to make serious money on YouTube. And like the reality is that ad rates really should never be the majority of your YouTube income anyway. Like, that's why I was saying this last stream as well, that you should really be aiming for like 30 to 40% of your income to come from ad rates, and the rest should be from either fan funding, sponsorships, or selling digital products and things like that. I gotta get my digital product ready to go as well and start selling that.
Streamers were making comments and getting viral clips.
This looks such a good. I'm so mad that I didn't come up with this thumbnail. Shardbound. So it's so good.
People were poking fun at each other. Drama channels were churning out shocking new updates, declaring that his career was going to be over. He was fit.
It's over. He's done. There's more. I love that guy. That guy who does those videos where it's like every single thumbnail's the same. He's done. It's over. There's more. He's done. It's over. It's like it's so funny. That guy's the best. I love that guy. He knows how to get his bag.
Finished. Oh, it was so exciting. I bet it felt great to nod in agreement with your friends when you all agreed that this creator is just the worst person in the world. And then the bubble bursts. Everyone slowly realizes that actually I probably shouldn't be spending hours of my week watching something to feel the emotion of anger towards what is basically a total stranger online. Content exists to make...
This isn't what the realization people came to. They just found somebody else to dislike. It's not like nobody that disliked the Pirate Software and was watching the Pirate Software hate videos is like, you know what? I'm gonna do something else. No, they just found somebody else that was more annoying. That's the way it is. It's fine. I do it too.
Make you feel emotions, and we as viewers chase the content that makes us feel the most. We chase senses of community, and we remember the content and creators who make us laugh the most or make us the most angry about the things we ought to be angry about. Is Pirate Software a bad person? Honestly, I don't know, and I don't care. I don't think it...
Well, yeah. What do you think, chat? Do you think Pirate Software is a bad person, or is he good boy, didn't do nothing wrong? Let me know.
Actually matters. But for the channels who were making content on this viral topic, as soon as the drama ended, so did their views. Their audience were around to see this silly influencer get dunked on by facts and logic. But audiences are fickle, so when the next drama isn't as interesting, or it doesn't cover a topic they know anything about or they're not invested in, they move back to the next fresh bit of emotion that they get served by YouTube. So did the YouTube algorithm change and kill these drama channels? No, it didn't. The audience simply stopped watching. Now, this was a very easy example to use of...
That's not entirely true. It's also dependent on the person. Like, Pirate Software stopped being as cringe. There was less things to talk about as well. Like, you sort of run it. There's like a life cycle on any amount of drama. But the reality is, if you just stop acting like a retard, people stop pointing and laughing at you. That's a part of it too.
The rapid movements of all...
Like, people have been talking about Chris Chan for as long as YouTube has existed. People still make their entire careers about Dark Side Phil. If you keep being a clown, people keep laughing. That's the reality. Like, it's how long has Phil been on the internet? Like, he literally used to record his gameplay with a camcorder and upload it. So praise the Clippers. Yeah, the Clippers keep it going. Look, if the creator feeds into it, like the Pirate Software drama could have lasted 10 years like it lasted for Phil, provided there was enough milk to go around. But some cows have a bit more milk than others. Sometimes you run out of milk, you're dry, and you have to go work on the big milk factory upstate, which is called Lolcow Live. That's where the lolcows go to die.
in and out of spaces. Most of the time, it's not as obvious and clear-cut as this. But what we are seeing on YouTube at the moment is similar, and it's on a much bigger scale. There is a reason why creators' videos have dipped in view count at the start of August and September. The reasoning is a very human one, and I've hinted to it throughout the video. The views are from the viewers, and we, the viewers, live boring human lives. That means at the start of August, the greatest human migration event happens as we enter the summer holidays. The first week of August is the busiest summertime week.
Look at all these fat people at the beach. Go back.
Migration event happens as we enter the summer holidays. The first week.
Look at all these fat UK people. I have no idea. I just assume because he's a Brit person, this has to be like Tenerife or Ibiza or something. There's a fat UK guy right here. Right here. Right here. I don't know. Could be any. Literally could be any. I Spy. Where's Waldo? Nah, fat people get to enjoy the beach too. I'm just looking for things to point out in this because like. I want to get to the Joshstrifehayes videos, but I want to see if there's anything else that's an interesting point that the Brit has made here. But while I mostly agree with that this is a factor, he hasn't gone back to the point that Josh was making about the restricted / desktop and shit, I forgot them for a second. Desktop versus mobile device. No, not desktop. Desktop versus smart TV device views, which is a very clear and unusual trend. Because if it was just a dip in analytics, then you would see the same going through. Like you'd see multiple lines going the same way. And this is exactly what Josh's video points out, which we'll get to in just a second. But the actual crossover event is what people were concerned about. And they were questioning if it was a change in the algorithm. But now people are kind of saying that they probably think it's just monetized views being tracked instead of non-monetized views. YouTube itself has actually come out and talked about it as well. So this kind of seems like he's being a little bit condescending and he's just saying, oh, no, you guys don't know what you're talking about, when he isn't actually addressing the correct argument, which is, I find it a bit disappointing. To be fair, though, Joshstrifehayes' video was deleted and he re-added more information. So this may have just been one of those things where it got lost in the editing timeline.
Week of August is the busiest summertime week where people's regular schedules are thrown out of the window.
Shouldn't YouTube know what's happening? Of course they know what's happening. The question is, will they tell us and will they be honest? That's what the concern from the people that says that YouTube is being... The people that believe that YouTube is showing them their channels will say is that YouTube is doing this intentionally for political reasons or for social, like justice reasons, things like that. And they'll just tell you no. And YouTube is not very transparent with its user base, which is very frustrating for a lot of people.
Because you've got a one-week trip to Disneyland. Can I blame my viewers for not regularly watching me when they're on the beach sipping gin and tonics? No, I can't, because chances are I'm doing the same. So of course views are going to be down. You have less hours of the day dedicated to watching content. Still, as people return home over the summer period, views often tick back up again. But then we get to September. Well, it's the biggest season of change for us humans. Teenagers go back to school, adults start university, or maybe enter into the workforce. And
this is like localized to America though, right? I think most countries don't start their term in September. That's kind of a strange time.
At the moment, with the world we live in, some are even starting second jobs to make ends meet, or desperately seeking new jobs with better wages. When you add all of this...
Yeah, the people searching for second jobs are going to be the YouTubers, right?
Together, you get people that are spread thin with the weight of the world, with less and less time dedicated to entertainment. This trend is so common that each year, Rene over at YouTube releases the exact same tweet after creators panic that their viewer figures are down. He's used the exact same video for multiple years now. So yes, I'm afraid that the thing most creators are panicking about is the exact same thing that other creators panicked about at this exact same time last year. And they did it the year before that, and the year before that. And chances are we'll be doing the exact same thing next year. The thing is, this isn't a YouTube thing. This is a worldwide global trend that all big companies and entertainers are struggling with. Twitch, the live streaming platform, hosts September in this month. In this period of time, the paid sub to most creators is halved. It's done not to give the creators more money, but to try and keep viewers hooked on the platform, as it pushes creators to go big on this month, to bring out their biggest ideas and get some of their...
Is that true? I actually didn't know that. Although I don't really have much investment in Twitch, and frankly, I hope their company dies. That is interesting. I thought it was just because sub started with S, and they just wanted to go for the alliteration. This guy's just coping. I mean, he's kind of right, but the trends he's talking about do exist. And I agree with him on some points. Like when people say that they're being shadow banned, it's like cope. That's absolutely true. But he's not addressing, like he said earlier in the video, he said like we'll more on Josh's video later, but he didn't go to Josh's video, or at least not yet. Maybe he's going to come up with the last few minutes.
More casual fans into becoming dedicated fans. The reason it's done in September is because otherwise Twitch would see a very big viewership decline, because everyone's going back to work. Who has time to watch a live stream? But it's not just Twitch. The media
Hopefully my audience.
industry in particular have been struggling with this topic for years. How do we deal with audiences not going to the cinema for a regular 7 out of 10 film? How do we sell an okay video game in a world of hyperinflation? And the answer most companies appear to have settled on is that you have to make everything seem like the most important thing in the world that promises to provide value to the viewer with the limited amount of time and money they have. So when big companies are scrambling to manufacture the strongest emotions and grab the most attention, creators are almost expected to do the same. We're not just competing with other creators, we're competing with other entertainment platforms. We're competing with the free time human beings have. There's a reason why the creators affected by the view drops are well established, generally with years on the platform and many videos. There's a reason why channels that recently changed styles, formats, or just started taking off are doing completely fine. Viewers want something new, fresh, and worth their time. You could spend weeks constantly chasing trends like MrBeast, always building up your ideas, making them bigger, being on top of the next talking.
Hold on a second. Dave says, your audience aggressively runs ad block. You're never getting anything out of us. I'm going to ask the chat now. How many of you actually use ad block? Out of curiosity. Isn't YouTube like banning people if they use ad block now? I don't know. I disabled my ad block for YouTube, but I have premium, so it doesn't matter anyway. Let's see. YouTube Premium is honestly YouTube Premium is honestly a good product. I would recommend you to try it because like you don't really get that much ad revenue from live streams anyway, unless it's like a massive stream. Replay, I mean, if you got replay views, they monetize the same way as regular videos, but most people watch this. The replay crew isn't as large as the online crew. But like honestly, it is a good product. You get a bunch of new features and no ads whatsoever on YouTube. You can have it for like a bunch of different accounts. It's like $5. I think it's a pretty good product. But like I wish that YouTube members would give you the same features as YouTube Premium, but just on that one channel, so that users could decide whether they could go Premium or go membership. The other thing with YouTube Premium that's really good for creators, I know the viewers don't give a shit about this because they just want to absorb the free content and not pay their fair share. No, but just joking, obviously. But like YouTube Premium pays out even on really salacious or spicy content. So you could be talking about the craziest things and still receive monetization from it, where very much not the case for regular YouTube ads, which is silly. I don't see why advertisers care. Like, oh my goodness, Coca-Cola, you don't want to see your sign next to someone talking about riots? Like, who gives a shit? It's advertised. It's all advertisement. It's not like anyone is dumb enough when they watch the stream like of like George Floyd riots or something. They see like a Coca-Cola ad play and they're like, oh my goodness, Coca-Cola went out of their way to sponsor this. No, of course not. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong though. Maybe the audience is that dumb. Who knows? Certainly my chat isn't. They know exactly what they're doing.
Point, but then you have to lose a lot of your creative identity. Is it worth it to bend over backwards to get attention and lose who you are along the way? I don't look at someone like MrBeast and see someone who's happy with the content they make. I see someone who is happy with how it performed, and that's just not how I like to make my content.
I think MrBeast is pretty happy with the way it performs. Did you see that? You see that video of MrBeast getting punched in the stomach by Mike Tyson? There was the funniest comment I saw for that. It's like, this is the only video you'll see of MrBeast where he's actually had an emotion. I think that's true though.
Putting attention is the aim of the game, and it's one of the main reasons why so many bits of media you've seen are getting spread out over multiple months in order to maximize the subscriptions people have to maintain. Why release the hit new Wednesday TV show all in one go when you can double your subscription revenue? I do feel bad for the creators who are throwing stones at the smoke.
But see, I think this works counterintuitively for me. When I see companies doing that, like releasing half their season one month and then half the other month, then I will literally not pay for it out of spite.
Monster known as the YouTube algorithm, because it's just not to blame. I do hope that they can find some solace in the fact that they're not alone and that they've not actually done anything wrong. The most important part,
they have a new premium tier that costs $8. The tier will block ads on all content except music. That's stupid. I'm actually canceling my Amazon Prime subscription because they started playing ads during Clarkson's Farm. When I put on Clarkson's Farm, I'm there to chill out. I don't want to see a 1-minute Japanese ad for shampoo. Because they always give me Japanese ads, which don't appeal to, like, first of all, it's Japanese. Second of all, shampoo. Who are they kidding? Anyway.
YouTube actually comes up at the end of Linus's follow-up video called Here's Why Our Views Dropped. He reaches the conclusion that YouTube is about creating and having fun, and provided you're doing that, you're doing the right thing. The wrong thing is when you're creating and you're not enjoying what you're doing. This last month has been one of the lowest in terms of views for my channel in many years. I genuinely don't care. I'm here for the love of the game and to keep people entertained by breaking games and algorithms. If you're interested in something I'm doing, then I hope you watch along and laugh. But if you're not interested in it, then that's perfectly fine. I don't expect you to watch every video I make. I can try and make...
All right, I'm gonna skip out the last part of the video. Oh wait, no, actually, there's a part that's important. We got to play. Hold on.
Algorithm. The algorithm is a or just... Oh, they all plug their... Reach the
Here it
conclusion
is.
that you were wrong about the YouTube algorithm because you are the YouTube algorithm. The algorithm is erratic, fleeting, and sometimes wrong, just like us. How incredible. Genuinely. It's amazing. Anyway, let me just quickly check how the other creators ended their videos before I end mine. Oh, they all plug their Patreon. Hey, you viewers, I love you. And because of that, you should 100% give me money on my Patreon, or become a channel member, or buy my merch, or just super chat me your money. If you like...
True. Welcome to YouTube. I love you. Now, please send money. All right, so while I think that there's a lot of good content in this video, it completely sidestepped the question that Josh was actually asking. So we're going to go to Josh now. Joshstrifehayes. He's, like I said, he put out 3 videos. Well, there was actually 4 videos. He deleted one of them. He said, is YouTube broken? What you need to know. Proof that YouTube has changed how views work. But the more important one is this one. I think I know why views dropped. I think the Spiffing Brit is incorrect. The most polite form of drama possible. I think that you're incorrect, good sir. So this is Joshstrifehayes. Funny guy. Very successful. And I'm very jealous of a lot of the things that he does. This is very clever too. Holding his little mug, but it's got his microphone in it. Very clever. All right. Enjoys his coffee or whatever.
I don't like making drama videos. I'd far rather be playing video games, but YouTube is my job.
This
so
is true.
Joshstrifehayes. I don't like making drama videos. I'd far rather be playing video games, but...
I agree with this, although I enjoy making drama videos, but I also just would rather be playing video games. In fact, I want to go back to playing Project Zomboid, which I just started playing today. It's a lot of fun. Strangely enough, when I looked at my page, I noticed that Flux is playing Project Zomboid as well. Like, did everyone just start playing it at the same time? It's got such an annoying, it's not annoying, it's got such a high learning curve, though. And the thing that with Project Zomboid, which is really frustrating, is the UI doesn't seem to scale. So I had to install a bunch of weird shit to actually get it so I can actually see what the words say. But I'm having fun so far, even though I am hilariously bad about it. When is the promised Metal Gear Solid 5 stream? Maybe at 24,000 subscribers we'll play Metal Gear Solid. How about that? We should play it on stream. I think the next gaming stream we'll do on the weekend will be Silksong, is what I'm planning to do. I went out and bought Silksong in the hot Japanese sun, and to make a silly little short video. But as a result, I will be playing it probably on Saturday. I'm looking forward to it. I haven't never played Hollow Knight before, though. So you can expect it to be very bad. Although it looks pretty cool. The graphics is beautiful.
YouTube is my job, so when it makes changes, which I may see and
watch
worry
this on
about,
1.25.
I like to be told. And when a creator I have a great deal of respect for, the Spiffing Brit, puts out a video basically saying every creator is wrong on this subject, nothing has changed, trust me bro, specifically referencing a video I made about it, when I believe I have enough data to make a reasonable claim that he himself is wrong, I kind of have to. In this video, I'll present the evidence of a pattern of source-view desync relating to YouTube views from computers specifically.
Now, so this is the important. If you haven't seen the previous videos from Josh, he got hundreds of YouTubers to respond to him, but his sample size is, I think, like 70. I think in this one it's over 77 people. So, which is a small thing in the scheme of things, but that's quite a lot of people. And this is a very strange thing. On August 10th, this is the problem that we had with both the quartering and shadiversity, is they've all been talking about their channels dying for years, and they've been doing this every 6 months. They're doing this script, and recently it's been a lot stronger, but they never could prove one thing, and that was, if something changed, when is the date that it changed? Somehow, Joshstrifehayes come out of nowhere. He's a smart boy. He comes out of nowhere and proves, like, this is the day. This is the day. August 10th. August 10th is when computer views and TV views swap. Now, did they actually swap? Was the algorithm changed, or were the computer views no longer being viewed? That's the question. That's what most people are saying. They're thinking, well, maybe the case is that YouTube views were there. They just weren't being counted because they were non-monetized views.
why that hasn't affected creator income despite looking quite scary, and then show you why it's not a normal yearly cycle, and what caused it with sources. Before we go any further, I need to make something crystal clear. This video isn't a call-out or an attack against the Spiffing Brit. I've met Spiff in real life. He is an extremely kind person. He's generous with his time, and he's one of the most supportive creators I've been lucky enough to know, especially to smaller or mid-sized channels. He has a wealth of knowledge and understanding about YouTube. So this isn't me throwing shade. I've actually never disagreed with him, which is why, when I do disagree with him now, he deserves nothing less than me bringing my A game with data and research.
Facts and logic. Like this is what I said. This is like the most polite beef I've ever seen.
Someone asked me while I was researching this video, what's the point of making this video? In a few months, none of this will matter anyway. And that is a good question. I think...
What do you mean by that, though? Like, in a few months? Why? Because our channels will be dead? No, I'm just joking.
Unexpected changes to YouTube data, especially for smaller creators who are trying to go full-time, or mid-sized creators who need to be able to count on reliable patterns to budget, can be a really scary thing. And 1 or 2 bad months can be the end of smaller to mid-sized channels if they need to take on other paying jobs, which makes their video output go down. Massive
You gotta go get a job. Suffer, YouTubers, go get a job.
established channels can weather a few bad months, maybe even a few bad years. I'm one of them now. But I'm aware that's a massive privilege of mine. And telling people in a more vulnerable position that everything's fine just isn't always that helpful. To me, understanding an event helps me worry less about it. So this video is mostly for the small to mid-sized channels to help you understand the data that you're seeing. In several creators' videos on this subject, YouTube showing low view counts on videos, we've already discussed the bogeyman restricted mode and its connection to AI. Now, after more research, I don't believe restricted mode is being turned on by AI. But here is why I originally thought that. YouTube put out the blog on restricted mode, a feature from 2010, relatively recently, and in one of its latest Creator Insider videos in relation to their new AI age estimation model, said this.
If our age estimation model determines that a user is under 18, YouTube will automatically apply its standard protections for teen users on the account. To be clear, all of these protections are already applied to users who tell us they're under 18 when making their account. Teen users will have digital well-being tools like bedtime reminders turned on by default. Recommendations will be adjusted to limit content that, while acceptable in isolation, could become problematic for some younger viewers when viewed repeatedly. And teen users won't be...
What do I mean by that? Like, I know it's... I just know it's true, though. It's true. It's like... Well, if someone says Sigma 1 time, it's fine. But if they say Sigma 1,000,000 times, it becomes cringe, and they should be banned off the internet. I 100% agree with you. I've listened to some teachers in America because, you know, I used to know a lot of teachers. A lot of them, all Americans, actually, now that I think about it. They told me how funny it, and like when I say funny, it's like they tell me how much of a nightmare it is to teach in America right now, and I just sit back and laugh. They just sit there all day in their class, and the kids are trying to Riz and Sigma and I don't know, Ohio them. It's pretty bad. Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me.
Served personalized ads and several other changes. Based on our age estimation model, we'll apply some additional protections for creators, including setting uploads as private by default and restricting the ability to earn from GIFs on vertical live streams. As a result of this update, some creators should expect a shift in their audience categorized as teens. We estimate this will have limited impact for most creators.
The claim that digital well-being tools will be turned on was taken by people, including me, to include restricted mode, but that is not the case. So what has caused this?
I mean, there is the possibility, though, that YouTube will start slowly turning on these features for people that do not want them to be turned on. And we won't be able to know. That's the really tricky thing about this, because there's no level of transparency. They could be doing this. Now, I don't think they're doing this in the case of, say, Shad or Quartering. But they do have the power to do so, and they have the tool that is ready to do so. And, you know, as a certain Mr. White might put in a Minnesota filing, the theoretical sword of Damocles is hanging over all of us creators' heads, and that could be striking at any time. Suffer, underpaid teachers. Yes, indeed. Oh my goodness. I would rather re-roll my character than start again as a teacher.
Low view count, and why, specifically, is it not affecting revenue? Spiff's claim that this is a cyclical yearly thing do hold some weight, because we do indeed see yearly cycles of views rising and falling based on social events like global holidays, people returning to work and school, even mass sports events or concerts can affect viewing geography for a day or two.
You know what the funniest example of this is in the UK. There was a show, I think it was Coronation Street, And after Coronation Street, which is like just a soap opera, British people doing British things in the UK, love, which is very apropos, I suppose, for this stream. But every time Coronation Street ends, the power plants in the UK would have to put out their output by like 30 to 50%, because every single Brit in the UK watching this would always go and turn on their kettles after Coronation Street because they just wanted to have a cup of tea before bed. So it was so funny. They actually had to, because, you know, you probably, it's kind of obvious, right? But you probably never thought about it. But they don't just make more power if you use more power. They have to make a certain amount of power, and then people use most of it. You know, not all of it is done. I mean, it's basic fulfillment, right? So if everyone turns on their power or their air conditioner at the same time in America, it's like crazy. You know, the grid fails. So they have to predict ahead of time. And the UK, they do this for Coronation Street because all the tea lovers are going to come on and they're going to love their teas. But you know what's a horror story, chat? Do you know what the scariest thing that you'll ever know about tea is? Not that you can get 10% off of the Dragon's Treasure using code COPE. Have you ever seen the disgusting insides of a British kettle? Oh my goodness. This is the first time I saw this. Let me show you. This is gonna put, this is what is it, like the calcium buildup or something? Let me see if I can find this real quick. Because they've got like hard water, I guess. I don't know. It's like a horror story when you see this shit. Inside the British kettle. It's crazy. The lime, oh, it's lime buildup. Lime scale. Inside. I hope nobody's having breakfast. Inside the British kettle. Disgusting. If you're British right now, go look inside your kettle. It's like, I've seen like, it looks like a limestone cave sometimes when you look inside a British person's kettle, especially if they've never changed it. Anyway, I'll try and find some better pictures of it to show you. Lime scale. You limey bastards. Why is it so, why? That doesn't happen in other countries. Why is there so much lime? It's harmless? No, it's psychic damage. It doesn't do physical damage, but it hurts your psyche.
YouTube analytics do follow predictable patterns, and new creators do get caught out by these ebbs and flows of patterns, while established creators have come to expect them. I know Christmas is a great time for ad revenue, while January will be low. Patterns and data actually calm me down quite a bit. When I can see a reliable pattern, I can plan for it. But the predictable...
See, when I say that, people say that I have autism. When Joshstrifehayes says that, they say, oh, that's so adorably British, isn't it?
Predictability of patterns, or the abnormality of the discovered predictability, is actually what caused me to think that this event is something specific and different. For anyone who hasn't seen my previous video, several content creators, including Second Wind, Linus Tech Tips, and myself,
Too many Joshes on the screen,
along with Bellular, have all seen dips in view count over the last month or two, and Spiff's video claims that this is just a few creators worrying about something which is cyclical, predictable, and standard. Several people even commented about my video on Spiff's video, which I presented data in the decoupling of desktop views from the established correlation, and he had a very specific reply to all of those comments. He said, watched it, and I just don't agree. I have spoken to him.
Now, that's kind of based. That's kind of like... it's like, no. Nah. Nah. No. Sorry. No. Just don't think so. Nope. Sorry. That is kind of based.
About this, but YouTube's internal message is, no, we didn't change it. And the data he has varies massively from channel to channel. For every one channel saying it is that way, there is another one showing no change at all. This means it's more likely an audience change rather than a platform one. His data set is simply too cherry-picked to be valid for me. Perhaps after more research, he might have something. But as there are just as many channels showing a trend in the other direction, it cannot be taken seriously.
This is a good point, actually, that I guess the Spiff didn't bring up in his actual video at all. But this is something that I brought up, in that the evidence that people bring to the table is just the channels that are doing poorly. They're not going out of their way to find the controls, which are the channels that are doing the same or even better. If you think that views are being taken away from certain people, where are the views going? Hypothetically, if the same amount of people is on the platform, where are the views going? And this is something that you don't see from that Gothic Sushi or Gothic Therapy. Why do I keep saying Gothic Sushi? Gothic Therapy, the anime people, the little cartoon people, boyfriend, girlfriend or something. Yeah, you don't see that from Shad or from Quartering or from them. You don't see it from anybody. Of all the doomsayers that are blaming the algorithm, you never see them actually going out of their way and looking for people that aren't having the same experience as them. So it creates these negative feedback loops.
Now, this video isn't a call to attack Spiff at all. I read the comments on his video, and I saw many creators effectively saying he was wrong, and he called for me to do more research. So I have. For anyone not up to date, here's the important information from the last video I made. Creators who focus on long-form content have seen a drop in views from August 10th onwards. However, when we go into analytics, we can see something strange. The lost views seem to be coming from a single source, specifically views made from computers, desktops or laptops. We aren't seeing any drops in views from mobile, TV, or tablet. Now, historically, these view sources have all correlated pretty strongly. In my original video, I showed data on my own channel going back 2 years, showing the dips and troughs of views are indeed cyclical, but the correlation of sources to each other within a percentage range is stable. From August 10th, it destabilizes, desyncs, and becomes
So just to point it out, it's a bit hard to see here, but there'll be a larger one soon. Basically, the blue line is the computer. The green line is the mobile phone, and then orange is smart TV views. We call them just TV views. TV views is always the third. So it goes desktop, mobile, TV, tablet. This makes sense, especially for Joshstrifehayes, because he does computer content. MMO players, but essentially are all interested in having 2 screens and playing one game while they watch YouTube videos on the other. It's very, very standard stuff in this sort of industry. This is the first time ever, not only does the views go down, but it actually is eclipsed. And they cross over. And from that point onwards, they were higher, I believe.
stable. In my original video, I presented graphs from 3 other channels. Healthy Gamer GG, a channel which focuses on social and mental health.
Except when he's murdering Rekful, right?
Adi Harajuku, a channel which focuses on Japanese lifestyle and nerd culture. And Worst Pre...
So actually, this is a weird jump scare. When he mentioned this is a very weird jump scare. Adi Harajuku is basically a cosplaying British chick. I assume that they must be friends. That's why he included her. However, I have one video from her that I was actually going to do a show about. And I think it was about like, what was it? What was it? Adi Harajuku. Adi Harajuku, in it. Let me just have a quick little peek. Let me see which video it was. Let's see. This is the kind of girl that chat wants to fix. Let me see if I can find. Which one was it? I think it was. There was something about the cosplay community. This one, the cosplay community crash out. What happened to anime conventions? I was actually going to subject the chat. I was going to subject the chat to this video one day, but I decided to put it on my back burner, and I never got around to it. So I don't know, chat. Do you want to see if you can change her in the coming week? We'll see. We'll see. Since she got randomly manifested in my brain again.
Made ever, a channel which focuses on long-form group gameplay. Because even though 3 is a tiny sample size compared to YouTube, I wanted variety in the channel's demographics to see if
Skinny talk. We can learn about skinny talk. What is skinny talk? That sounds just girly enough to subject the chat to. Social media is destroying us. Skinny talk. Hashtag gym motivation. What is the cortisol face? Why is TikTok obsessed with it? No, not tonight, but maybe one day.
Could find even the start of a pattern. And all those channels were able to show a strong correlation of view sources up until August 10th, where those sources, specifically from desktop, dropped out of correlation after August 10th. I made a video on this, and I asked for creators who are also experiencing computer view desync to reach out, because I really thought there is a pattern here, but I need more data. And trust me, bro, isn't a valid stance to discuss anything from. Now I need to address...
That's the spiciest thing he's probably going to say against his friend. But this is a big problem that I had as well, is that when the Spiffing Brit goes back to, like, he makes some very good arguments with some very real trends that I do agree with. But then he says, he's like, well, I talked to the YouTube people and they said, no, just trust me. I've got friends up there. That's why maybe I work for them. It's a bit, I need more than that.
address the issue with self-reported data. If you ask for people affected by X, then you are, of course, going to get people affected by X disproportionately reply to you. What you aren't going to get is people not affected by X. They will simply look, not respond, and walk on, meaning that asking for anyone affected by X is a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy. You're going to find what you're looking for. But my aim wasn't to find a load of people with just lower view counts than usual, because if my parameters were that broad, then yes, predictable cyclical events would come into play. I needed to try and mitigate the impact of predictable cycles as best I could on this data. My aim was to find people who very specifically fitted 3 categories. 1, primarily long-form content creators, so those who don't focus on shorts. And if they do focus on shorts, we would need to isolate the data to only report from the long-form videos. 2, they saw a substantial dip in views on August 10th.
This is the funniest thing, is that this one quantifier completely removes shadiversity and quartering from this argument. And they've been, when you look at Shad's video, he's like, I tried to warn you, I was right, I tried to save you, you didn't listen, we didn't listen. How could this happen? It's like, oh, wait a minute, it's only from August 10th? Oh, wait a minute. And this is what I said when I did my stream, which I believe was our previous stream, like on Friday. I said, there can be several situations here. There could be nothing's happening. There could be Shad is right. There could be Shad is wrong. Or it could be that both Shad is wrong and something is happening to YouTube. But Shad didn't even mention the possibility of that, because he has to be right about it, and he has to convince you to sign up to Subscribestar.
And 3, the lost views were disproportionately coming from computer sources, causing the view graph to fall out of correlation from the expected norms. I asked for these 3 specific parameters, and then the channel started to contact me.
Now, the really strange thing is I checked one of my channels, and I have a very weird audience, apparently. Not this one. I mean, you guys are weird right now if you're listening to this. Except for the replay people that are posting replay in the comments right now. They're very based. And thank you. No, but like one of my other channels, I actually went back through my 2 years of data to check this for myself. And the crazy thing is that for the last 2 years, I've actually had higher on TV anyway. Apparently, I have like the smart TV boomer audience on one of my channels, which is quite surprising.
Real Civil Engineering Gaming says exactly the same here. My money is on ad-blocked views not being counted anymore, but who knows? Remember this idea. We'll return to it soon. I'm the editor for Vinny Vinesource and Lime Malicious's VOD archive channels. Both are long-form content, and I can confirm the same pattern happens on August 10th onwards on all the channels I manage. Abysssoft says this holds true with my channel analytics. Beatty Bates says, hi, Spanish YouTuber here. Yes, my PC visits did drop on my channels, in my case from the 11th, perhaps due to time difference, and in a very abrupt way that was easy to see in the statistics. Abroad in Japan says before August 10th, most of our views came from views on desktop, pretty much as they have done since 2012. Then they dropped to second, third place against TV views and mobile from August 10th onwards. Not sure how or why, but that's what we saw in the stats. As to what it means, God knows. Would be cool if YouTube could actually say if they're counting numbers differently or not, though. Joshima says, PC Gaming Speedrunning channel here. I see exactly what you say. After August 12th, computer views are no longer the highest percentage and don't follow the same trends as other platforms. Dungeon Chill says, hi Josh, yes, same thing on my end too. The shadiest part of all this is YouTube's response or non-response. Xenos Vex says, hello Josh, I'm Leo, the editor for this channel. Computer views seem to have dropped slightly after August 11th, but not as much as in your examples. I suspect YouTube changed the way they count adblock views or are trying to combat view bots. Proxygate Tactician says, mine follow exactly like yours does from August 12th. Mobile and PC were the same until that date. Interesting to see. JC Foster says, holy cow, I've been tearing my hair out about this for almost a month. Yes, I've had the same issue starting on the exact same day. I really thought I was just alone and my channel was failing in some way. Why they wouldn't tell us about this is beyond me. I even spoke to creator support and they told me there were no anomalies on my channel. Thank you for making me feel less alone in this. They were 10 examples, that's not enough. I have 75 more, so let's speed up. Maximilian Dude says 10th goes into effect. The 12th, the full reduction is where it stabilizes out now.
Funny thing is, when I was previewing this video, I was already watching on 1.25 speed, so I had to slow down.
Confirm on a 10 million view channel per month, desktop views went down significantly. No justice.
So the replay view that watched this on like 1.25 or 1.5, you're suffering right now.
GG says, my data shows that as a primary
Don't worry, it only lasts a minute.
The uploads mid-length politics related, my desktop views went from consistently half my mobile views to consistently a third after August 10th. Roxnet says, music discussion channel and my desktop views plummeted since the second week of August, having trouble in getting new content to get pushed at this point. Hockey Hoshi says, racing game creator here since 2022. My computer viewership has been consistently 5% higher than mobile phones at number 2. On August 7th, computer started to drop below mobile by an average of 5%, so roughly 10% below my average, but does actually begin to recover on September 7th. D-Sync says, yep, same here, computer dipped below mobile on August 11th, 10th in America and elsewhere. Interestingly, it has since returned to normal ratios again, starting on computer views being on top.
That unironically might be me. My TV will often replay your videos on it. Please keep doing this. This is the fascinating thing, is that while I was going through doing the prep for this, and I started watching a bunch of Spiffing Brit videos, he actually has some fascinating videos. And one of them was about the rise of sleep content. And the crazy thing is I started to notice this at the same time he mentioned it. It's like one of those like Google Inception things where they just read your brain, aka your browser history, and then start suggesting things. And that is that certain creators are now making super long videos, like in the 5 to 8 hour range, specifically to try and capture viewers that are AFK or sleeping. Because if you start watching a video and you fall asleep, you're actually one of the most valuable ironically, one of the most valuable viewers because you watch the entire content. Especially if it's like a 5 or 6 or 8 hour video, that is incredible watch time duration. So some creators are actually focusing on videos that are in, they're like planned to capture people that are sleeping. And this always happened for ASMR content or like, you know, like 10 hours of rainy music or something, whatever, right? But there's literally, I started to see channels pop up the very next day I saw this video, like sleepy historian or boring history to fall asleep to. And I was just like, that's just a funny idea, because the more people that watch sleeping content while they're asleep, it gets recommended to more sleeping viewers. So there's an entire zombie class of YouTubers that is actually incredibly monetizable, which is just the funniest thing ever.
Again on the second, first in America. In the original edit of this video, this goes on for 11.5 minutes, and I share 74 different creators, but I've sped it up because I think you get the point by now. Jack is a mimic, so even with a small channel, my desktop watches were cut in half on August 10th. Over on Twitter, Avalanche Reviews then sent me proof of his analytics changing. Legendary Drops then sent me proof of his analytics switching on August 10th, with computer historically dropping to the lowest it's seen. Frederick
This is
Wilson
pretty
from
good
the YouTube
data.
channel Down the Rabbit Hole then contacted me and said, hey there, thought
Down the rabbit hole. Good channel.
I just reported after seeing your new video, I can confirm a dip in only desktop views during that time frame by about a third. I'm sure you don't need more people confirming what you already know at this point, though. WheezyTF2 contacted me via Twitter saying, hey Josh, just wants to provide another point on the algo issue graph for you. My desktop mobile viewership is typically at parity. My last view, upload September 4th, received a drastic decrease in desktop viewership compared to prior months. The difference is striking. Rory Khan also reached out saying, hey Josh, not sure what the best way to reach you was, but here's my graph with the data you were discussing.
You get recommended for sleeping history. There's like 3 dozen. You know what I've seen recently is like, have you seen the rise of these channels where it's like, it sucks to be this something? Like this some guy came up with a concept where it's like, why it sucks to be a shark, and it's like all in MS Paint videos. But then I just see like 3 dozen videos, like, and it's all the same channel. It looks like it's like, why it sucks to be a concubine in ancient China. Oh, why? Oh my goodness, why does it suck to be a medieval woman? And it's like they're all like the same channel, like they're like animation channels, and it's one of the funniest examples of plagiarism I've seen in a long time. I don't know which is the original channel though, but they're good. They're actually good content. It's like, do you know why it sucks to be born as an anaconda in the Amazon? I'm like, actually, that sounds pretty interesting. Those channels are pretty like. Let me show, and they've all got the same thumbnail too, where it's like a white background, MS Paint, like, you know, anaconda, and then like an arrow saying it sucks or something. I gotta show this. I gotta show this because it's like. Let me see why it sucks to be born as. Oh, is this like actually? Oops. Look at this. This is exactly what I'm. One of these is really funny though. I have to show it. This is what I'm seeing. A rise in this content. I think the first one I saw was this one. Why it sucks to be born as a velociraptor, and it's like lives like shit, born to suffer. Life is shit. Lives like shit. The worst life. The worst life. Exhausting life. Born to suffer. Too chill to survive. Gotta be careful when you scroll. Absolute shit. Oh, wait. Sucks to be born as. Video sucks to be born as. I gotta see this. Is this like a new trend or something? I don't know.
In your recent YouTube video, my data supports your hypothesis. After August 10th, we see a significant dip in
why it
desktop
sucks to
views
be a
compared mobile
YouTuber.
views. Majula reached out and said, you are one shrewd son of a gun. August 10th, my desktop traffic gets cut in half. September 9th to today, it begins to climb
The horse one was good. Yeah, I saw that one.
up a little bit. For the first time since August 10th, it finally surpasses TV views again, but still falls short on mobile. The Path of Exile creator Talkative Try then contacted me and sent a screenshot of his graph, simply followed by the words, no way, man. The Path of Exile creator Chris Wilson then reached out and said, by the way, my channel's views follow exactly what you described in your most recent video, suppression of desktop views from August 10th. I doubt this is a surprise, but I figured I'd mention. That is 82 channels. If you then include myself, Adi Harajuku, Healthy Gamer GG, and worst pre-made ever from my original video, we end up at 86, which is again a small number compared to all of YouTube, but definitely a pattern worth looking into, not just discounting as something that always happens, because it isn't. It's also important we notice that the channels noticing the desktop view reduction are channels which would appeal to a slightly older audience: tabletop wargaming, retro gaming, alternative fashion, mental health, video game challenges, PC building, or outdoor exploration, things which people are likely to leave playing on a PC in the background or via a playlist. This will matter. I asked a lot of questions to everyone who could give me time and tried to find a link between them, but then a stranger aspect appeared. All of these channels, despite seeing low computer views from August 10th onwards, had not seen a drop in revenue.
This just sounds like these people need to get a job and make YouTube a side hustle. I mean, that's the problem, is that a lot of people that are doing YouTube as a side hustle will never be able to do full-time creation. And like, yeah, it's funny to say get a job and everything, but like the people are enjoying so much free content. I mean, obviously you're getting ads and things like that, but I mean, what's the alternative? It's like, well, everyone should just get a job, and then what are you going to watch instead? I guess you can just, watch TV if you want, sure. But like, if people want something, then there should be a job for it. That's the way supply and demand works. I know it is very funny though. So keep spamming "get a job" in the chat. Unironically, I think it's very funny. But it is kind of weird when you see like people. It's like, why? If you're here, you're obviously interested in the content, or you just troll, right? So surely you see value in it. But then it's just like, well, you shouldn't do it because it's not a real job. I mean, it is though. It is. Then again, I say that OF is a fake job. So, I mean, if you're using my own logic against me, then I can't argue with that, because I say that those OF chicks need to get a fucking real job. It's not real, even though it's the oldest job in the world. He's jobless. Exactly. Jobless Johnny. But I maintain that there is a difference between being I think that YouTubing is more respectable than being an OF girl. Because, and this is the real argument, if anyone ever tells you that OF is a real job, ask them why they can't have OF creators at School Careers Day. Now, there's a lot of YouTubers that probably shouldn't be at Careers Day either, but that's a story for a different day. And most of them are Minecraft channels.
And I think that was the key, because that means it's likely to do with unmonetized views or ad block. When someone watches a YouTube video, they may be served an advert before, which is a pre-roll, or an ad in the middle, which is a mid-roll. And these views, if the creator has monetized the video, are monetized views. They will generate some ad revenue for the creator. However, when YouTube is watched through an ad blocker, these adverts don't play. The ad revenue isn't generated, which is bad for YouTube. On screen now is an article showing a previous clash between YouTube and ad blockers written in January 16th, 2024, referencing the November slowdown of 2023, where a change to ad blocker, not YouTube, was the culprit for the slowdown. So YouTube and ad blockers have been in an arms race for a while now, with YouTube wanting to ban ad blockers, even recently making the 3-strike system. You may have experienced it yourself, and people using ad blockers not being able to use YouTube as frequently. And then ad blockers themselves trying to update with anti-ad block tech, so you can still use YouTube while blocking ads. It's a digital arms race. Now, because the reduction in views was from...
Wouldn't it just make more sense to hire the people that are making ad block and make them work for YouTube? I mean, but then again, the people that work for ad block, they could be like absolute just doing it for the love of the game.
Desktop, and yet we haven't seen a reduction in ad revenue. I think we can then make 2 points. The lost views were not monetized views, because if they were, we would have seen a reduction in revenue, which we didn't. And
this is the really funny thing as well, when you take it back to Shadiversity. That's why I have Shadiversity and Quartering in YouTube jail on the thumbnail for this, is that they've been complaining about the reduction in views, but they never mentioned reduction in revenue. Now, they did say, at these view numbers, we can't support our channel, but they never said we have a reduction in income. They just said we're getting less views, so we need you to subscribe on Patreon. Very, very cheeky in it.
Computers, both desktop and laptop, are more likely to have third-party ad blockers installed than mobiles, TVs, or tablets. But there's a third aspect to this. YouTube have claimed they have not changed how long-form views are recorded, and I think they are telling the truth. They haven't changed how they show the data they receive, which leads me to 2 possible conclusions. Either a huge amount of computer viewers all decided on August 10th to collectively stop watching a huge amount of channels all at once, which I think is remarkably unlikely. Or 2...
Was there like a video game that came out that day, though?
The data of the views wasn't being sent to YouTube, because it either didn't happen or did happen and wasn't being sent. Sounds a bit tinfoil hat, but it actually corroborates some more data I then found. On the 11th of August, the website Tom's Guide published the article titled, "YouTube just quietly blocked Adblock Plus. The internet hasn't noticed yet, but I've found a workaround." In the article, Jason, the author, mentions how the website...
You guys believe this shit? By Jason England? So you're telling me that this British man is arguing with another British man, and they found their evidence is by Jason England? Do you believe this? Do you believe this, chat? This sounds like a conspiracy. An English conspiracy.
Down detector registered a massive spike in users searching for "Is YouTube down?" on August 11th, and a linked Reddit thread, also from August 11th, posts a screenshot of the YouTube page not loading for them. The poster adds, "YouTube only fully loaded in when Adblock Plus was disabled in extension settings." There are many posts on the Reddit post corroborating the ad block issue. And if you go to the status is down Twitter from August 11th, you can see YouTube was seemingly down for a large number of people. This links to the Twitter user Vlad Savage, who included 2 screenshots, one showing a YouTube client-side error, the other showing the spike of reports of YouTube outages for August 11th. Now combine this with the assumption that most of the creators who replied to me asking for data...
This is just another side story, but like this reminds me of something very funny. Because like people reporting that their YouTube is down were just self-reporting that they're using ad block, which is, you know, it's your freedom to do so. But as a YouTuber myself, I'm not allowed to. But it reminds me of a very funny story of DRM in that, you know, most games have their own DRM, so you can't pirate them and stuff. But the guys that did Arkham Asylum, they had the best one. There's a part in the Batman Arkham games where you need to use Batman's glide ability from his cape. What they did is that the DRM gave the ability for that to actually work. So if you had a pirated version of Arkham Asylum, you could not get past a certain part of the game, which was like 20% in or so, because you would simply fall to your death when everyone else could get past it. And then there was thousands of people that were going to Reddit and complaining. They're like saying, the game's fucking broke. I can't get past this part of the game. How do I get past? And they were just self-reporting that they were pirating. That's the funniest thing that I think of game companies ever done. Truly, truly very good. Although you hear some fun stories about piracy. Like there was that, who was the creator that like he gave the cracked version of his own game? He's like, look, my game is so good, you should just play it anyway. And if you like it, you can pay for me. And he would just release the pirated game himself, and then a bunch of people that pirated the game decided to buy it anyway. That was a very wholesome story. I like it when stuff like that happens.
Combine this with the assumption that most of the creators who reply to me asking for data are longer form creators, generally serving a slightly older audience, and their channels will be watched by a sizable chunk of their audience on desktop or laptop, with the notion that
Wait, hold on. Sorry. Sometimes I click on people's comments, the wrong ones, because people's move. The Witcher 3 did an unkillable demon. That was also, I remember that one too. John D says, I bet you use ad block. You're too cheap to get premium. My friend, it's right here. I have premium, okay? It says YouTube Premium. I have it.
Decent enough chunk of their audience are going to be tech savvy enough to use an ad blocker, and we see a very simple through line about why the views for August 10th specifically were down, and not through cycles. I believe the data I have presented and the slew of channels affected highly likely points to August 10th or 11th, depending on your time zone, being days that the website YouTube and views from desktop or laptop PCs using ad blockers began to interact in an abnormal way, potentially caused by a change to either side.
Wait, actually, I completely forgot. Didn't the chat shame me into getting premium? Like, I'm sitting here saying that I love YouTube Premium because it's a good product, but now that I remember it, it's because we were doing streams and I had to keep watching ads, and the chat was like saying, like, why don't you get YouTube Premium? So I literally got YouTube Premium just so the ads wouldn't play for chat. And now I've changed in my brain, so I thought I'd made my own decision, but it's actually chat's decision. Holy shit. Chat changed me for the better. Oh, look at that. Amazing.
The ad
all right, we'll go back a bit.
Being days that the website YouTube and views from desktop or laptop PCs using ad blockers began to interact in an abnormal way, potentially caused by a change to either side, likely the ad blocks.
Hold on a second. You guys know that I legally cannot tell you to do this because that would be a violation of the partnership agreement that YouTube has. Everyone in chat's just like, well, why don't you just do? I'm like, literally, I cannot do that. Okay. I do not have that option as a YouTuber. That's why I say you can do whatever you want, but I cannot promote it.
Side, and this change caused YouTube to become unusable for viewers using adblock.
That's right, the
this
chat shaming for
videos
Japanese
gaining
ads.
the expected computer views, but lost views were not monetized anyway, which is why the creators who saw lower view counts from PC did not see a reduction in revenue. I believe what we actually found was a small bit of digital data fallout from the software arms race between YouTube and ad blockers. The YouTube versus ad blocker arms race continued, and now we are evening back out to where ad blocker or variations of it can once again access YouTube. The Spiffing Brit claims he spoke to people at YouTube and they confirmed they have not changed how they record views. And I believe him. And I actually believe YouTube are telling the truth as well. They haven't changed how they record views. If they had the view, it would have been recorded. But a change in the interaction with adblocker prevented the view, or didn't send the data of the view in the first place. Now, I don't mind being wrong. I even took down my first video about restricted mode because it was shown to be demonstrably wrong. But patterns are reliable, and spotting this pattern was a collaborative effort. I've had several people reach out to me, honestly quite rudely, about this whole process, about how I'm tilting at windmills and the pattern doesn't show anything. It's just a yearly cycle. But sometimes data does point to a series of events which can be shown to have a logical connection. Like I said at the start, I don't make videos to call people out or cause panic. I like Spiff. I've met him in real life. He's a lovely guy. But we fear what we don't understand, and understanding can be key, at least for me. Data, patterns, cause and effect is calming. And getting ahead of these events can...
I'll just point out one thing. This is not an argument, and I don't actually care about this at all. But I will point out something. If we go to YouTube Shorts, we go to YouTube Shorts, the Spiffing Brit.
Hello.
This is the...
Just up at the top of that castle.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Spiffing Brit, and today I'm here to play...
All right, chat. What do you notice about this picture? This is the Spiffing Brit. What do you notice about this bit? There's something in this picture that does not match the voice. There's nothing wrong with it. I won't point it out, but there's something that doesn't... Sometimes the voice doesn't match the reality. Yeah, he's binging with Babish maxing.
Magic the Gathering.
All right. Anyway, it's not an argument. Nothing to do. I just thought it was funny. Because it was a bit of a shock when I saw that.
can quell creator unrest, preventing us all turning like an angry mob on restricted mode. So if you are a smaller to mid-sized creator and this has been worrying you, yeah, it's partly the yearly cycle, but it's also partly an event you couldn't have controlled anyway. But you're not wrong for noticing it. So this is where we are up to with this low view count phenomenon. If anything else happens, and my God, I hope it doesn't, I'll let you know probably via Twitter, because I don't like making these videos. I want to get back to playing video games. Cheers for watching. Have a great day.
And there you have it. So, YouTube, the end. What we've found is that there appears to be no conspiracy at play here. However, I am somewhat concerned about the revelations that were brought up in this process, specifically the one that the Dragon's Treasure brought up, which I find to be very, very interesting, because there are certainly two tiers of YouTubers when it comes to certain topics. And this was actually evident first in the, I want to say Johnny Depp streams. YouTube does have these tiers and these ways to isolate content. Now, are they suppressing the quartering because he wants to sell his coffee? No. Are they suppressing Shad? There's no evidence of that. In fact, the evidence we've seen today contradicts his claims. Shad couldn't even point to a single date, and it only took YouTubers a few days to find this out when there actually was a real problem. So I found this very interesting. I do think that the Spiffing Brit put out a lot of good content of what I saw anyway. And I do think that a lot of his arguments are good, but he did completely miss this one piece of evidence that was, frankly, should have been easier to find than it was. But what do you guys think? Who's got the better argument between the Battle of the Brits? Looks like it's going to Joshstrifehayes by about 13% in the chat. Although the real people just wanted to see the results. Do you like baked beans? I like the big one, the big baked beamed. Did I skew the vote by showing the pretty nails of the Spiffing Brit? That's such a weird, like, I really don't care about that. It's just funny when you have someone that's using a voice like his and matched with that aesthetic. It's quite strange. It's very, very quite strange. You know who loves beans? iDubbbz. Yes, he does. He loves baked beans. If you guys want baked beans, you're going to need a can opener. What's a can opener? $50. They're all... No, I think they're not. I think they're not. What was this one? No, that was it. That was what we used at the beginning. I think we've gotten to the bottom of this. There's no reduction in views. There's no suppression. It's just a bit of an oopsie-daisy. That seems to be the ongoing battle of advertisers, which is not surprising. However, YouTube can and has banned people in the past, but only for really, really spicy things. Kind of a bit of an anticlimactic end to this, but I assume that in 6 months from now, we'll be able to laugh again at the people that claim that the YouTube's showing them their channels while they're grifting for their subscribe styles and their things and things. But I've seen no evidence over the weekend, at least, that proves this is different. It seems like it's very interesting. Was this? You must know Spiff has hired fake bodies for a video before. I don't know that. If that is the case, then that's very funny. But he chose the body actor, so it makes you still question it. But like I said, it doesn't bother me. What is this? What? Are we talking about, is this has got to be quartering thing? I don't know. What do you guys want to talk about this week? It's Tuesday my time. I'm a little bit behind the times though, because I had to go eat my fiery ramen that cost $70 the other day and get ripped off of more money. I've got a couple things on my back burner that I want to talk about. There's a couple interesting ones. One of them is kind of like on the fence though, so I'll let the chat decide maybe. I saw this video about a topic that I really don't want to get into, but I'm very curious about why people are into it in the first place. And it is a deep dive into the Dabbleverse and all of the characters in the Dabbleverse. Personally, I hate everybody in the Dabbleverse. But the guy does have a schizo board, which is something that's kind of appeals to my interests. So do you want to see that? Do you want to do a review of that? That's about an hour. Not tonight. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe the next day. I'll put it on my... It's on my list of things to go through. The new Demon Slayer, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen, not so ever. Another wind. Wait, the Devilverse stuff makes sense when the next law case comes up. When is that happening? Now, the schizo board is interesting though, because the guy's got, his wife is like proud of him for making the schizo board and things. So we'll have to wait and see. Has Shad disclosed his alternative platform? I don't think so, but somebody said it was Nebula. I don't know much about Nebula. Can we get a ramen mukbang? I do have video of it. I do have video of it exploding, but it's like... The thing is that you have to put on these bibs when you eat it, like these white aprons, so that the oil doesn't splash on you and burn you. And it makes me look round. So I look really fat, and it's not true. It's that A-logging aprons make me look really fat. I can't be showing it that. I don't know if he's on Nebula. I just heard someone say that. 8-hour ramen cooking stream. That's not going to happen. Show us the... Nah, I don't think so. I can't show you because it's on my camera, and I'm using this camera to record right now. So I'd need to get a mirror to show you the back of the camera, and this wouldn't work. Even with a series of mirrors. Cover Sean's failure to assemble a $50... That sounds interesting. Send me to that. Maybe that'll be like a bonus segment. Did you see that some of the tow logs got phone booked? Really, literally a wing situation over again? Yeah, I did see that. That's very funny. They get what they deserve. Doom. More Devilverse content. Stuttering. I don't know who Stuttering John, Carl, and Shuli is. That's the thing, is I have to watch the video to understand who these people are, because I don't know who they are. The only people in the Dabbleverse I know is Nick, Aaron, and Melton's crew. And this is what I don't understand about this. Like, why is it interesting? And why are they so invested in it? Like, why is the everyday man so invested in seeing the Dabbleverse explode? And why are they so invested in seeing the Steel Toe men go to jail? I don't understand. Who gives a shit? I mean, I guess the same argument can be made for Nick. I just don't get it. That's why I have to see why they're people. I have to. It's like going undercover and finding out what's happening in like this crazy cult or something. Because people are so invested in it. What is the Dabbleverse? This is the question. We don't know. We still don't. Nobody can explain it to me. It's just like Stuttering John was like dabbling in comedy, so it's everyone that's around studying Stuttering John. I don't know. I think Sean covered the Stuttering John thing though, right? Didn't he? It's just daily Tard fights. Yeah, I mean, that's basically everything on the internet. It's really no different than anything else. It's just, I don't get it. It's like, I think the Dabbleverse is like, it's like when you show your friend, you want to show your friend this really funny YouTube video and he just doesn't get it. Everybody's had that experience, right? Where you try and show your friend something and they just don't get it. And it's like so cringe when you're watching it and you're like, never mind. It's kind of like that. It's one of those things. People can be into whatever they want, though. I always heard the Devilverse described as like the sector for boomers, which kind of makes sense. That's actually that's probably the best explanation I've ever heard of it. But I am curious to see how the next trials go. So maybe we'll do it then. Who can say? All right, guys. I'm gonna go play some Project Zomboid. Hope you had fun. We'll be checking in to see if the boys' channels are destroyed. Quartering is shitting his pants. His channel's in the toilet where it belongs. Shadow's going to be making money on Subscribestar, and every 6 months he'll put out another video. And life will continue the way it is. I'm not streaming tonight, video games, but on the weekend maybe. All right, guys. Peace.